I've also sent an electronic copy if anybody would like it. So I want to thank the council members present and the committee members as well. Good morning. I'm Eric Tuck, President of the Amalgamated Transit Union, Local 107, representing over 850 of the finest transit professionals that operate, maintain, and administer the Hamilton Street Railway. Together, ATU and Hamilton Street Railway have built a gold standard brand that has been serving our city with safe, reliable, efficient transit service for the past 150 years. That history over the years includes maintenance and operations of street-level railways, streetcars, trolley buses, conventional and articulated buses. We also know that we have a collective agreement which protects our historical rights as a key stakeholder to operate and maintain the transit system in the city of Hamilton, a city which we have helped build for the past century and a quarter. In fact, I would like to remind you, during one of history's worst pandemics, that HSR and ATU members kept our economy going and our city growing. We are here today to put the rails back into Hamilton Street Railway. We are here to assure that the LRT subcommittee and City Council that Hamilton Street Railway is the only logical choice to operate and maintain our LRT system. Over the years, ATU and HSR have the best track record for servicing the residents of Hamilton. We have seen the results of contracting out to a private vendor like Alstom, and what that has done to the City of Ottawa's LRT, with 2 derailments and numerous delays and downtime. We have read Commissioner William Horrigan's 664-page inquiry report, something I encourage every councillor and every committee member to do. I know it's a long read, and it's not always exciting, but it's absolutely essential to making this decision. His report on Ottawa's LRT that clearly outlines the disastrous effects of a design, build, finance, and maintain model. We are here today and we are saying no to privatization of LRT, not here in Hamilton. We know there is a better option. We know firsthand what HSR can bring to the table. Historically, we have an outstanding record to deliver on the transit needs of this city. HSR can and will keep our LRT on the tracks and ensure that taxpayers of Hamilton get the best return on our transit investment, as it has done throughout history. I know earlier one of our speakers spoke about the motion that was passed in 2017. That's not the only City Council motion that was passed to keep transit public. One of the first motions passed was a decision by Council back in the early 60s. And there's a reason that they decided to make HSR a public transit system and to ensure that going forward into the future that we keep transit public. That decision was a sound decision back then, and it's a sound decision today. So I urge each and every one of you to make sure you look at the history. I also want to talk about our collective agreement, and I talked about the historical rights that we have built after 125 years of working with this city to build our transit system. To turn that over to a public entity, any part of it, even the future parts, is a big mistake, and I urge you to really give that careful consideration. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Tuck. Any questions for Delegate Tuck? I'll recognize Councillor Nan, followed by Community Member Andrus. Councillor Nan.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Thank you, Delegate Tuck, for being here this morning. I just want to clarify the last statement you made. If you don't mind just repeating it, because I think you meant to say private versus public. If you could just review that last piece that you said.
Could you just remind me which one you're talking about?
Right at the end, Delegate, I think you misspoke and just used the word public when you were meaning to say private.
I see. Okay. So yes, I probably did then.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that you remained consistent in what was heard today.
We're very clear. We want transit kept public.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor Nan. Councillor Andrus. You'll notice Councillor Nan doesn't miss much. So, Councillor Member Andrus.
Thank you, Chair. Through you, a question for the delegates. So this is just a little bit of a niche question about your membership. Should this committee and City Council decide to pursue an outside party for the maintenance of the line, and for example, the LRT were to go out of service, can you just let us know what that would look like? Because we'd be dealing with your members who are, of course, the bus drivers who would be called on to provide the replacement service. But of course, we'd have a private consortium with potentially a different set of employees that would be responsible for the driving. So can you speak a little bit to what that would look like? We're basically paying for, if it goes down, 2 sets of staff?
Yeah, well, that's not a new scenario. We actually seen that in Ottawa. Ottawa had their soft start, and they went down very quickly. They actually laid off some of their transit operators, a number of the transit operators, I think around 300. And then they had to scramble to try and get them back to fill that gap of when the LRT went down. Look at when your LRT goes down, that service is down. And if you expect HSR and ATU 107 members to jump in and save the day, we probably will. I'm going to tell you we will, but we can't do it on a constant basis. And when you look at 14%, 7 months into this year, they've been down 14% of the time. It was 13.7% 3 days ago, and it hasn't started up yet. So we know over 14% of this year alone, they've already been down. Never in the history of HSR have we ever missed that kind of service, ever.
So should those maintenance issues cause problems with the Hamilton Light Rail, and given the HSR's current staffing levels, would we be looking at potential massive amounts of overtime in order to cover those additional buses to make up for the lost LRT route? Absolutely.
That's the only way we'd be able to cover it, because we wouldn't have the extra staff to do it. We struggle each day just to make sure that we cover the service that's necessary on a day-to-day basis. You can't carry an extra 200 to 300 members to cover a certain service that goes down.
So in that eventuality, then we would in fact be paying the bill twice, like Ottawa does. So we would be paying once for for your members who are going to have to drive the replacement buses and overtime, but also for the maintenance company who's responsible for that other piece. Is that?
Yes, absolutely. Not to mention the risk of people missing work. You know, imagine 14% of a year's service down. If they're relying on that service to get back and forth to work, that lost time and that lost revenue in the economy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? Seeing none, thank you, Delegate Tuck.